Good evening and welcome to tonight's Common Council meeting for February 13th, 2024. Clerk will call the roll, please.
Tauschek.
Here.
Herman. Matzdorf. Here. Gilson.
Here.
Hildebrand.
Here.
Penkwitz.
Here.
Shulsky. Nelson.
Here.
Let the record show we have a quorum. Next is the pledge. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the consent agenda. The chair will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve. Second motion.
We have a first and a second. Any discussion? Clerk will call the roll on the consent agenda, please.
Nelson.
Yes.
Hildebrand.
Yes.
Matzdorf. Yes. Penkwitz.
Yes.
Tauschek.
Yes.
Shulsky.
Yes.
Gilson.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Next item is the audience portion where we ask people to sign in and be recognized. You tell us what's on your mind and we do the listening. To this evening, we have one person who signed up, Kevin Sandy from Plymouth. Kevin, you can stand or sit. Use your outside voice and tell us what's on your mind.
Thank you, sir. I just wanted to express my opinion on the hot topic in Plymouth, which seems to be the dam. I see four options, and I see the only way we're not going to riddle our children and grandchildren and generations to come is option 4, the $1.2 million option to get rid of it. I'm kind of appalled that the city council, when given the opportunity to put this on a referendum, turned it down. And the reason that really upsets me is the huge multiple $1-million spends that we as citizens, not just of Plymouth, but of Sheboygan County, have had to endure the past 10 years. $5 million jails, $20 million garages for the highway department that are $5 million over budget, that have a roof repair of $1 million a year after it's open. It's just like it grows on trees, and it doesn't. We also had a school referendum that took $112 out of my pocket here a few years ago. And I asked all the people that are supposed to know, and nobody can tell me for how many years that $112 is going to come out of my wallet. So I'm just assuming I'm going to die, and their hand's still going to be there. And I just think at some point, I see a lot of gray hair on the board, just like mine, but there has to be a future. And a lot of us might not be here in 10 years, 15 years, but somebody's gonna have to pay for the dam maintenance 20 years down the road. The dam doesn't go away when you put a new one there. It's not free. It's like every government building. It's got an electric bill, it's got a heat bill, it's got to be maintained, and that's all in the back of the taxpayer.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it when people come in and address the council and tell us what's on their mind and what issues of concern they have. Moving on, item 5, no items were removed from the consent agenda. Moving on to item 6, resolutions. Item 6A, approval of resolution number 1, discussion to repair, replace, or remove the Mill Pond Dam. I'll ask our city administrator, Tim Blakesley, to give us a brief summary. Tim.
Sure, and so in 2015, the city of Plymouth received notice from the Department of Natural Resources that required the Mill Pond Dam be brought into compliance with NR 333.06 within 10 years. The deadline of that is 2025. As part of the 2023 budget, the city included funding to hire an engineering firm to assist in the city to make the decision on whether to remove the dam completely or make upgrades and replace the Mill Pond Dam. We did issue an RFQ and received proposals from 2 firms. Ayers Associates was selected, and in March 2023, they completed a study providing the options available. Ayers has significant experience in dam removal and dam upgrade and replacement. In addition, the city of Plymouth was awarded $1 million in the state biennial budget for the removal or restoration of the Mill Pond Dam. So in October, Ayers presented the options to the Committee of the Whole, and then following that, the Committee of the Whole opted to move forward with a public open house and public hearing. That was conducted on January 30th, 2024, to provide the community an opportunity to learn more about the project and provide feedback. Public comments were also received via an online survey, which was attached to your council packet for review. So staff has put together a resolution number 1, recommending a replacement of the Mill Pond Dam. This resolution does the following. It expresses the Common Council's intention to replace the Mill Pond Dam. It empowers the city administrator, utilities manager, to seek and accept grants for the project. It authorizes the city administrator and utilities manager to incorporate the Mill Pond Dam into the 2025 borrowing for any expenses beyond those covered in grants or the capital improvements fund. Any expenses beyond what is projected will be notified to the Common Council. It instructs staff to take any necessary steps to advance the project with the chosen dam option, which will be an item forthcoming. And then it grants the city administrator and utilities manager the authority to request an extension of the timeline from the DNR if necessary. And the DNR has typically in the past been favorable as long as you're making progress. So this is a recommendation to move to approve resolution number 1. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Before I entertain a motion for consideration, just a quick comment that it might appear that resolution A and B are connected. They're similar, but one has to precede the other in a orderly fashion. So they're separated for distinct purposes here, even though they're somewhat related. So with that, the chair will entertain a motion for resolution number 1 as stated.
Mayor, I'll move to approve resolution number 1, approving the replacement of the Mill Pond Dam.
Thank you, Alderman Matsdorf. Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
We have a first and a second to approve resolution number 1 as read. Any discussion?
Mayor.
Alderman Hildebrand.
Yeah, I'd like to make a few comments. For what we have to vote on the dam, yes, because of the survey. That's what it states, but my kind of disapproval of things were how it was handled by the council, besides Dave Herman, myself, and Diane Gilson, to approve a referendum. At this point, we only have 2% of the voting people, for the tax-paying voting people of Plymouth, that made that survey. 98% of the people of Plymouth were simply dismissed by not going with a referendum. A possible 98% dismissed. We heard things of, time is of the essence, yet now we're only 49 days away from the election. The cost of money, well, we didn't know at that point, but we do now. Thanks, Tim, for bringing, forward what, it could have been done easily. And Ayers, the company that's going to replace it and gave us the quotes, I asked that specifically at that meeting if they would write up the referendum. So the referendum would have cost little or nothing if we would have went with Ayers. It's just a sad fact, it's disappointing that we didn't include the rest of Plymouth. And to tell you the truth, a lot of people aren't on Facebook. They don't do social media. I don't subscribe to the paper. If I wouldn't be on the council, I would have never known. I would have never known about that survey. So how many people did this simply not know? They weren't given the opportunity of that vote. Thanks.
Thank you, Alderman Hildebrand. Do we have any other comments?
Yeah.
Alderman Nelson.
At one point, I was much in favor of removing the dam, but then we came into issues of land ownership if the water was taken away. those are significant issues. I don't think we would have been able to get many people living around the pond to agree to give us a quitclaim deed so we could turn that into a park. To remove the dam and just leave it wild would be irresponsible. We would never live that down. It would have to be developed, and rightfully so, into something that's attractive. And that, if you were to do that, the expenses wouldn't go away. You'd have expenses every year to maintain that valley. So it's not a free lunch just by removing the dam. And given the land ownership issues and the reality that we wouldn't be able to get it done without some pretty terrible legal battles, I decided to go with replacement instead, is my choice. Which option is, I don't know how we're gonna decide on which of the 3 replacement options we're gonna go with tonight. If this motion was to approve this resolution, is that for
So item 7A, we'll have a discussion on replacement options.
well, okay,
Yes, yep.
all right. Cool. Thank
Okay,
you.
okay. Any other comments? Clerk will call the roll, please.
Matsdorf,
Yes.
Shilsky,
Yes.
Penkwitz,
Yes.
Gilson,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes,
Tauschak,
Yes.
Hildebrand.
Yes.
Motion carried, thank you. The second part of the resolutions this evening, approval of resolution number 2, authorizing participation in the Department of Natural Resources in the Municipal Dam Grant Program. Tim Blakely, you want to give us a summary on that, please?
Sure, and so the mayor kind of alluded to this. So this resolution, it's a bit of overlap with the prior resolution. Resolution number 1 grants staff the ability to go after all grants. So if we find some additional grant funds, we also will be able to do that. This one is specific to the Municipal Dam Grant Program and is required by the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources. The resolution needs to include the following statement, which designates an authorized representative to apply for the grant and act on behalf of the applicant, and it must indicate that the municipality has a commitment to pay for the local share of eligible costs, which are equal to the project costs minus the state share. So that is included in Resolution 2024 number 2. Again, the city of Plymouth did receive an allocation of $1 million in the state of Wisconsin biennial budget. So to get access to that funding, we must approve Resolution number 2. In addition, once we have this resolution completed, AIRS is going to complete the dam grant paperwork for us to make sure that we have access to that funds.
Thank you. Chair will entertain a motion for approval of resolution number 2 as indicated.
Mayor, I'll move that we approve resolution number 2, authorizing participation in the Department of Natural Resources in the Municipal Dam Grant Program.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any discussion? Clerk will call the roll on resolution number 2, please.
Hildebrand,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes,
Penkwitz,
Yes.
Matsdorf,
Yes.
Tauschak,
Yes.
Gilson,
Yes.
Shilsky.
Yes.
Motion carried, thank you. Yes, we have a lot of dam business this evening. So, moving on to new business, another one, discussion and action to direct staff on dam repair option. Again, City Administrator Tim Blakely, a brief summary, please.
Sure, I'll give a brief summary, and then also Public Works Director Kathy Austin is here to help answer questions as well. So in your packet is a list of the 3 dam alternative options. Option 1 is the Crest Gate, the approximate cost, $2.55 million. Slide Gate, approximate cost is $1.85 million. And option 3 is the Split Leaf Gate, approximate cost, $1.95 million. So those options have been presented to council several times, including at the open house. City staff after the open house did meet with AIRS and asked a number of questions. And staff does have a recommendation to proceed with option number 1, the Crest Gate. The crest gate does facilitate the ease of overall operations, notably in regulating the water elevation of the pond. It does provide the optimal solution for debris clearance and can be fully open during power outages or during an emergency without the use of any auxiliary power. It does have minimal moving parts and it necessitates limited future maintenance with the gate itself. The crest gate does require a small building for hydraulics. The dimensions of that building are approximately 10 by 12. Noted in the memo, it could be an exterior that matches the base of the arch, the cheese arch, similar color brick, or another aesthetic preferred by council. The crest gate width will be approximately 34 feet wide, which will have the largest waterfall effect for aesthetics out of all three options. The crest gate is recommended over option 3, the split leaf gate. That was our second recommendation for the following reasons. The split leaf gate does consist of two 10-foot wide gates separated by a concrete pier, making it a little more difficult to pass debris. It does contain more mechanical moving parts, which may necessitate future maintenance. And although the split leaf gate may facilitate increased sediment release from the mill pond, upon further discussion and some clarification with errors, it was noted that the primary area of sediment control would be focused in the area immediately upstream of the gate. So even with a split leaf gate, pond dredging again would remain the preferred and most effective option for reducing sediment buildout through the pond area. Again, the split leaf gate would have a more limited waterfall effect for aesthetics than the crest gate. Option 3 and 1 are preferred over option 2, which is the slide gates. That was deemed least preferred due to the likelihood of catching debris and less intuitive water control. So that's just a quick summary of the recommendation from staff to proceed with option 1, the crest gate for dam replacement. Again, myself and Director Austin are here to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Tim. The chair will allow discussion with the council members and or Director Austin or Tim Blakely as we get into the discussion part. First, chair will entertain a motion to approve the recommendation of staff of the crest gate.
Which is option 1.
Option 1, yes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a first and a second. Any discussion or questions?
Would you tell everybody how it's gonna go if not everybody goes for that option?
Sorry, what was the question?
How that's gonna go, because we're gonna vote on the option, how it's gonna go if not everybody or there's a majority for that option? Could you tell everybody how that's gonna go? Because some of these have never voted into that direction.
Sure. So if a majority of the council members approve yes on the motion for the crest gate, staff would move forward with pursuing the crest gate option.
And if it was voted down.
If it was voted
they
down, we would
move
have,
on.
correct, we would have council make another motion to select another option, potentially postpone the item for further discussion.
Any clarification needed on that? Clerk will call the roll. Tim, I'm sorry.
Well-
Or Nelson.
I guess it's pretty simple to point out that option 1 is $600,000 more expensive than option 3. Even though I think probably staff would have to be going out there physically to change the gates, is that right, Kathy? You couldn't do that remotely. If you have option 3 can't be done remotely,
No, either is option 1.
you have to be there on
You
site.
have to go on site, yeah. The ease of operation is a lot better with option 1, right? And again, being able to control the water level with option 1 is gonna be a lot easier for staff than option 3. And then in addition, just aesthetically looking, right, I know it's more money, right, but option 1 is gonna, I think, be the most aesthetically pleasing than option 3 for the split leaf. And again, just for functionality of the dam, we had, when we met with heirs, Matt Mango was also in the room for, because the DPW workers will be the ones operating that dam, and just for the ease of operation and how it'll function, that's why we chose option 1. Again, it's a financial right? It is a financial decision.
Any other comments? Alderman Penquits.
When I saw the three options, I thought option one would be more attractive to look at, the dam, to look at that site. And I operated gates at the wastewater plant. And when these gates are going up and down, you get, the slides start not working and they get corroded, and this has less moving parts in it. I just like the crest gate option.
Alderman Nelson.
I know they said that Sheboygan Marsh is a crest gate dam, the new dam, but they also have lift gates on there too. It's not totally controlled by the crest gate. I don't know if anybody was aware of that. I mean, Ayers didn't point that out. They just said that it does have a crest gate
I noticed
spillway.
that. I was there this past week.
Any other
I
comments?
guess I have a question. Kathy, when you say ease of operation, is there a way to explain the difference between the two gates? The ease of it,
Well,
I
I
mean,
think it kind of what, Alderman Pinkwitz said, right, is just how the parts move, right?
Okay.
So on the crest, it's more of a pivot, it's more pivot points, than the entire gate sliding up and down and this kind of the sleeves, right?
okay.
Because again, the split leaf gate, right, will draw kind of from underneath,
Mm-hmm.
right? So controlling, that's the harder part on controlling the water operation. And you have to remember, DPW hasn't operated either of these, right? So there'll be a learning curve, right? But again, it's going off of the points of the discussion. That's why they were involved in the conversation with viewers to ask those specific questions.
All right, thank you.
Any other comments? Clerk will call the roll, please.
Gilson,
Yes.
Nelson,
No,
Tauschak,
Yes,
Hildebrand,
No.
Matsdorf,
Yes.
Shilsky,
Yes.
Penquits.
Yes.
Motion carried 5-2. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for your time spent on this process. And I think anything else you need on direction, Tim?
No, I think we have the direction we need moving
Okay.
forward. As we get more information and, the contract goes out for bid, likely these things will be back in front of council
Yeah.
again.
A lot of work to be done yet.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, everybody, for taking the time. Moving on to item B, discussion and action on maintenance and operation agreement for the Sugar Shack at City Park with Plymouth Maple Association. Tim?
Sure, so this is a maintenance and operation agreement for the new Sugar Shack that's planned to be constructed at City Park with the Plymouth Maple Association. Again, we've mentioned before, City Park has an abundance of maple trees. Alder Nelson has helped lead a project for a concept of building a Sugar Shack in City Park. At the last Plan Commission meeting in just early February, the Plan Commission recommended approval of the design and shape of the Sugar Shack. That was actually also approved at council at a meeting prior. The recommendation from council was to move forward with the location in City Park, subject to a maintenance and operations agreement. So I've worked with Attorney Feber to prepare an agreement. In essence, the agreement states that the building will be constructed by the Plymouth Maple Association and donated to the city, and then the Plymouth Maple Association will maintain the building. It also has some stipulation provisions regarding cancellation, insurance requirements during construction, public events, and then access to the facility. But overall, city staff does recommend approval of the operations and maintenance agreement. You should have an updated version that was printed out in front of you. Attorney Feber and I were making some last minute modifications, but that has been included for you.
Thank you. Chair will entertain a motion so we can discuss.
Motion to approve.
second motion.
We have a first and a second to approve the maintenance and operation agreement with the Sugar Shack. Any discussion? Alderman Nelson?
I just wanted to point out that we're currently shopping for the insurance. So maybe the motion needs to stipulate that it depends on the insurance being available.
It's in there.
And I'll recuse myself from the vote on this.
Involved in it.
Yeah, pretty deeply involved.
Okay. First and second, agree with the amended motion
I do.
to have the variance on approval. Leave that to the discretion of the city administrator.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Could you explain where the money's coming from again for the people that don't know yet?
Oh, okay, through donations, we've been pretty successful so far. I think we've gotten over $12,000 in donations, plus some donations from a construction company, not in writing, but a pledge of doing some of the work. The high school construction class will do most of the actual construction. And of course, we're still out looking for pledges or donations towards the whole thing. So things are going well as far as donations. No city money involved at all.
That's what I want you to say.
Exactly. I was gonna ask that. Any other comments? Clerk will call the roll on the motion to approve the maintenance and operation agreement.
Penkwitz,
Yes.
Shilsky,
Yes.
Matsdorf,
Yes.
Hildebrand,
Yes.
Gilson, Nelson,
Recuse.
Tauschek.
Yes.
Motion carried, thank you. Looks like an interesting project.
Yeah, should be
Thank you for bringing that forward. Moving on to item C, extraterritorial survey map seeking approval for Thomas and Brittany Schultz, part of the southwest quarter of the southeast quarter of the southeast quarter of section 36, town 15 north, range 21 east, town of Plymouth, Sheboygan County, Wisconsin. This was previously approved and recommended to the council by the Plan Commission. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the extraterritorial survey.
Motion to approve.
Second motion.
We have a first and a second. Any discussion? Clerk will call the roll on the extraterritorial CSM, please.
Gilson,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Tauschek,
Yes.
Hildebrand,
Yes.
Matsdorf,
Yes.
Shilsky,
Yes.
Penkwitz.
Yes.
Motion carried, thank you. Moving on, item D, discussion and action on bid award to Borden States Siemens for 138 kV breakers for the substation number 5 project. Tim Blakely, you want to give us a summary on that, please?
Sure. So in response to growing demand for overall reliability of service and the installation upgrade to the Kewaskum compressor station, Plymouth Utilities committed to construct a new substation by the end of 2025. This was formalized through a substation agreement with A&R Pipeline Company in December of '22. Just a couple weeks ago, the Public Service Commission did approve a certificate of authority to construct that substation at their open meeting on February 1st, 2024. The item with the second longest lead time are the 138 kV breakers. Forrester Engineering, our consultants on this project, did open breakers on Thursday, February 8th. Upon bid opening, it is recommended that we proceed with the low bidder of Border State Siemens for 138 kV breakers in the amount of $274,891.30. Luckily, Border States was able to secure a production slot for one of the 2 breakers that meets the requested in-service date of the substation by 2025. The other breaker has a lead time of 95 to 105 weeks. But luckily, to get the substation and A&R functioning, we only need one of the breakers. So the full recommendation and bid tab are included in attachment 1 and 2, and staff does recommend approval.
Thank you. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the award as indicated.
Mayor,
Alderman Tauschek.
I'll make the motion to approve the bid award to Border State Siemens for breakers for substation number 5 project in the amount of $274,891.30.
Second, Hildebrand.
We have a first and a second. Any discussion? I would like to take a moment and express sincere appreciation to Tim Blakely and his crew, his staff, working with so many different groups of people and the approval process. This has been a ongoing, extensive, sometimes frustrating, but well done. Kudos to you and your group. It's finally going to happen soon, and it's a very expensive project, one that will benefit this part of our service area for years to come, but something that we started a year ago, and it's finally coming about. So let's hope that they get the breaker built in production.
No
So
doubt.
thank you again.
Thank you. And kudos to the utilities team. They put a ton of effort into this project.
That's correct. Clerk will call the roll, please, on the motion.
Pankwitz,
Yes.
Shulsky,
Yes.
Matsdorf,
Yes.
Hildebrand,
Yes.
Tauschek,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Gilson.
Motion carried, thank you. Moving on to item 8, ordinance number 1, amending section 10-1-51 of the municipal code of the city of Plymouth, Wisconsin regarding parking of oversized vehicles. And tonight we have with us our police chief. Ken, you want to give us a brief summary on that, please?
I'd love to. Good evening. If you'll recall, on December 12th of last year, we came forward before the committee of the whole with a recommendation to change the city ordinance section 10-151, which regards the parking of oversized vehicles on city streets. Specifically, our ordinance currently prohibits 12,000 pounds of gross weight on a single vehicle, 16 foot in length or 8 foot in height. We are recommending that we change the ordinance to 22.5 feet in length. This is based on looking into several of the passenger vehicles and pickup trucks that are out there today. All come in roughly under that 22.5 foot that we looked at, unless they're getting to the size of a 3500 series pickup or larger with a long bed, at which point they would still potentially be in violation of that 22.5 feet. But many pickup trucks now, like F-150s, F-250s, or the GM versions of those, or Dodge Rams, all tend to be much longer than the 16 foot. In fact, our own squad cars, Ford Explorers, are more than 16 feet in length. And so therefore, at the recommendation of many of my officers who enforce this ordinance, we felt it was more fair to our residents to make the ordinance fit what common vehicles are out there these days. And so that is our recommendation before the council tonight. If there's any questions, I'll try to answer them.
Thank you very much. Chair will entertain a motion so we can discuss.
I'll make a motion to approve. Second, Nelson.
We have a first and a second. Any discussion? The chair will allow answers, questions directly to the chief.
Mayor, I think we discussed this already, but, you know, if you hook on a boat trailer, for instance, and you have the boat and vehicle out in front of your house, that's gonna be well over 22 feet. Are you looking at each component, you think, or?
I would think in this case, those two components would have to be disconnected and parked as separate vehicles in this case. Specifically, the boats and such, you know, fall under this ordinance as a recreational vehicle. It was never the intent necessarily of this ordinance, is my understanding, to prohibit pickup trucks or passenger vehicles that may pull that trailer. But of course, the length restriction, each restriction in this ordinance was separate. It was 12,000 pounds gross, or the 16 foot in length, or the 8 foot in height. And so therefore many vehicles fell underneath that definition, as opposed to what we're proposing now. At least the pickup truck would be in compliance with the parking. The boat, depending on length, size, everything else, may still be in violation specifically as a recreational vehicle. Yes, they may have to be separated. The problem was we felt if we start combining different types of loads and trailers and things to passenger vehicles, we're really getting into kind of a discretionary thing that may not be easily defined in ordinance. So I think we opted to stay out of that realm at this point.
I think we talked before,
Alderman
this
Hildebrand?
common sense, my truck's an F-350, crew cab, long box, everything to it. I think it barely fits there. But then my camper's 30 feet long and I hitched it up the night before. I have an option, I have it in my driveway, but you see most people don't have that option, don't have that long driveway. I would just call on common sense. If somebody's getting ready to go camping in a couple of days and they got it hitched up, and a lot of people don't have that opportunity just to back it in their yard.
There are areas, obviously, city streets where driveways are gonna be so close together, or other areas close to intersections and such, where that long vehicle potentially with height or weight or whatever size in addition becomes an obstruction either to the thoroughfare, to other people's driveways, or potentially vision obstructions as we've seen in intersections and such, and that's largely where the focus of this discussion
And
started.
that's the understanding and the common sense,
Correct. And the officers still have discretion to enforce or not to
Exactly.
enforce based on the circumstances. Given the proper circumstances and a phone call, we also give limited permission, but we try to stay out of that, making
If somebody's
exemptions.
blocking that somebody pulls up to a stop sign, they can't see down the road, that's a definite no.
That's preferred, yes. We're not going to give any kind of permission to obstruct an intersection would be my
Exactly.
preference, yes.
Or sight of vision.
Correct.
Any other comments? Clerk will call the roll on ordinance number 1. Thank you, Chief.
Mansdorf,
Yes.
Tauschek,
Yes.
Penkwitz,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Shilsky,
Yes.
Gilson,
Yes.
Hildebrand.
Yes.
Motion carried, thank you. Moving on to item B, ordinance number 2, amending section 5-2-9 of the municipal code of the city of Plymouth, Wisconsin regarding open burning. I'll ask our fire chief, Ryan Pafford, for a brief comment, and then we'll entertain a motion.
So we reviewed this at the January 30th council meeting. We're pretty much just getting rid of the language. One of those parts are for the ceremonial being changed to non-residential, and then the other part was to drop the permit fee on people's backyard fire pits. It's just something that is difficult to enforce, and we're pretty much the last community in the area to do it, so.
Thank you. Chair will entertain a motion so we can discuss. Once again, the chair will allow questions and answers of the fire chief.
Mayor,
Alderman Tauschek.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 2, amending sections 529 of the municipal code of the city of Plymouth regarding open burning.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any discussion?
Mayor,
Alderman Hildebrand.
is that gonna include not just fire pits, but I don't know how to call them anymore. Above ground, they have the
Oh,
stands.
yes.
It will
None of
include
those
that.
will require a permit anymore at this point. Still all the safety stuff is in our municipal code of what people need to be following with the construction of it and distance as well, so.
Any other questions? Clerk will call the roll, please.
Shilsky,
Yes.
Penkwitz,
Yes.
Gilson,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Tauschek,
Yes.
Hildebrand,
Yes.
Mansdorf.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you for both our chiefs coming in tonight. We appreciate the time on that. Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.